Hey, what's up, Night Viewer? Thank you for checking out my channel for today. How you guys been? Hopefully everything's been good. And for those of you that's in the month of March, happy belated birthday, anniversary, what have you. Hopefully everything's been good. Anyway, earlier today I was just pretty much cleaning up my room, reorganizing everything. I was bored pretty much, and all of a sudden when I got to my Sega Genesis stuff, I started feeling nostalgia, and for the rest of the day, it just been hitting me because for those of you that don't know, this, all right, my introduction to the world of video game is all because of my eldest sister. She had the Atari 2600, but to me, I was a little kid. I just looked at it as it was an Atari. So as a little kid, all I did was just want to play the Atari, because she had a lot of games for it. So, obviously, as a little kid, I would do anything I can to pretty much have the opportunity. And there were times, all it did was pretty much strengthen our bond, but also really got me into the world of video games. Now, the Sega Genesis is actually my first gaming console that I ever had that was for me. And how I got it was pretty much, the story goes like this. I was a little kid, obviously still, because like I said, the Atari was, I didn't know it was Atari 2600, but I just looked at it as an Atari. Now, me, my mom, my sisters, we were in the store called Hills. Now, for those of you that recognize or is familiar with the store known as Hills, yeah, I know how old you are, and you pretty much obviously can figure out how old I am. But anyway, it was pretty much a department store. It's kind of like Target. And anyway, the thing about me is, I hate shopping. And that's all thanks to my mom and my sisters, because they love shopping. Which means it became very torture. Well, for me, I wouldn't say it was like that badly, but all I can say is it was boring. Like, even to this day, I hate shopping. Like, my past ex-girlfriends, if they be like, hey, let's go to the store, I'll do whatever I can. Be like, yeah, I mean, it's like I'm a type of person that when I go to the store, I already know what I want, I know what I buy. I just go in, grab it, go to the register, cash out, and get out. I'm not a big shopper. So, anyway, as I was saying, we were in Hills, and I was still a little kid. And one of the things I used to do is I would escape from my mom and my sisters whenever they were in the store, but they always knew I was either found in the toy section or in the video game section. So pretty much one day, now this was at the time period where Nintendo was selling like hotcakes, and Sega Genesis was just coming in. They were brand new. And I remember those commercials where they would be like, we do what Nintendo don't. So, yeah, good marketing. But anyway, I was in the toy section, and one of my sisters said, come on, mom is ready, let's go. And I was like, okay, okay, okay. So, my sister already knew where my mom went, so she just booked it and left me there. I'm walking out down to the main aisle. I already knew where my mom was as well, but I was pretty much dragging my feet to I wasn't really in a rush to get there because there were still a couple of things I wanted to look at. Well, I saw this guy. Now remember, I'm a little kid. I saw this guy, he's walking, and I saw him drop something, and I went to go pick it up, and it was money. Now, I don't remember if it was $150 or if it was $200. All I remember was it was big bills. And I picked it up, and I looked up, and I see him, like, walking, and I'm running, at this time, because it was his money, and I was going to give it back to him. Because I have that mentality, especially, how I was raised and everything. I wasn't a saint when I was a kid. I was bad as hell. But one of the things about me was, if something is yours or you drop something or whatever, I will always do my best to give it back to that person. And for this guy, this was his money. And, he was going down the main aisle, and he was making a left turn bend, where right there, there's like another section, and then there's the cash register area. So I was booking it because I see him turning to the left bin after I saw him drop his money. I picked up the money, I'm running, and when I finally got to that left bin, because there were people in the way and stuff like that, I couldn't find him. I didn't see where he was. And I see my mom, and she can see that I was like, obviously not focused. I was like constantly looking around and everything. She's like, what's going on? What's wrong? And I told her. And she can tell that I was a little bit frustrated because I really wanted to give this guy his money because, it was his. But I couldn't find him. So my mom got one of the workers to get the store manager. The store manager came up, and then I told him what happened. I was like, the guy dropped his money and blah, blah, blah. Now, the store manager, obviously an older gentleman, but he was like, wow, what you did is a very good deed, and it's very rare that people will do this. And I was like, okay. He goes, because normally when people find money on the ground or anything, they tend to keep it. But you obviously don't care about the money. You just want to make sure it go back to the owner. So, thank you. And he looked at my mom and said, you did a good job raising your son. She was like, oh, thank you. And he was like, well, still talking to my mom, he goes, is it okay if I reward your son? I mean, I don't know if you're in a rush or anything, but is it okay if I can reward him or anything? Because he did something good. And she was like, yeah, go for it, in front of my sister. And he looks at me, he goes, okay, what do you like? And without even thinking, I just said, video games. It was like, it's like I didn't even think about it. I didn't it just came out like, yeah, it was just like, it just came out, that's what I like and stuff like that. So he's like, oh, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go to the electronics section. I'll let you pick out a game, and I'll give it to your mom for a heavy discount, just for you, because you did a good deed. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. We go to the electronics section, and all they had on the shelf were Nintendo's and Sega Genesis games. And I was pissed. Because, like I mentioned before, well, in my household, pretty much, my eldest sister had the Atari. I mean, even though back then I didn't know it was an Atari 2600, as I know now, but back then it was just an Atari. And everybody I knew were, like my friends, my neighbors, and my family members, they had Nintendo. So it was easy for me to go over their house and, play whatever. But at my household, I just had Atari. So I'm a little kid, I'm excited, all right, a game. In my mind, I'm thinking Atari game. All I see is Nintendo and Sega Genesis, and I have no console or anything to play with, to pretty much play those games. So as you can imagine, I'm a little kid, and I'm like, and the store manager, he goes, what's the matter? I thought you liked video games. And then I told him pretty much what I had already mentioned, that, I only had Atari. Well, it's my sister's Atari, but it was the only thing I had at my house, and I don't have, Nintendo or Sega Genesis. He goes, oh, okay, well, how about this? I'll give you a Nintendo. And I was like, well, I wasn't really excited. I was like, well, because like I said, I had friends, neighbors, and family members that already had Nintendo. So I was like, for me, it was like, it's nothing new. You know what I mean? I already had played the system. I've seen what they got, and I'm always over, I was very active. So I was always, constantly visiting somebody. So to me, it was like, well, yeah. And he was like, what's the matter? And I told him, I started giving him all these names of people that already had Nintendos, how I'd be visiting and playing. And he was like, oh, so in other words, you like to be different. And I was like, huh? And he was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'll sell your mom a Sega Genesis with a deep discount, and also just for you, I'll let you have a free game. Now, at that time, on the counter, they had a TV, and it was showing a Ultra Beast demo, for the Sega Genesis. So when I heard a free game, my mind instantly thought, All right, I'm getting the Ultra Beast. Yes. Then he was like, okay, so what game would you like? And I said Ultra Beast. You know, I pointed at that one. But unfortunately, it was one of those pricey games, and he was like, no, 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 no. He pulled out the stack of game, he put it on the counter. He's like, no, I meant any of these titles, which were cheap, you know, pretty much cheaper than the Ultra Beast, which I was like, whatever. So, what, you know, there were a couple, I don't remember what titles they were, because like I said, I was a little kid, but all I remember were this, that I picked out. Alien Storm. And, oh, I don't know if the glare gonna, you know, mess with it, but here's Alien Storm, here's the back of it. I got this for free with my Sega Genesis. And honestly, this game is very, very important to me. Well, pretty much the Sega Genesis is very important to me because that was my childhood, you know what I mean? It was like, that's all I knew, and that's how I played, you know, just, and this game was, you know, it was different, and I played a crap load out of this game, so, yeah, this was also, like, a major effect. This was my very first actual game I owned. I mean, yeah, I do have a lot of games, and I still have the manual and the game in here, and my Sega Genesis still to this day, and it's one of the originals, still work and still function, and still can play these games. Problem is, for my new TV, I don't have a component to hook it up to my new TV, so hopefully in the future I could get the component, because I want to fire it up again. But this right here was my childhood. You know, I mean, for a little while, you know, this was the only game I had for the Sega Genesis. And, yeah, this game is fun. I beat it a crap ton of time. And it was, for me, it was a good side-scrolling action game. It also had first-person view type shooter style in there. And I always picked the robot. The robot was my main guy. Which hopefully bring it up, and hopefully the glare don't ruin it. But yeah, this, I spent a lot of game time on this. Now, of course, obviously, I started getting more games like Streets of Rage, Sonic, you know, Wonder Boy, let's see, F-22. You know, I just ended up acquiring a lot of games. But this will forever be my first game, Alien Storm, and it's a real good game. Now, the next game I want to talk about would be this game. Now, like I said, I got a lot of games for my Sega Genesis. It's like, you know, I'm pretty much set. But obviously, the reason why this game is important, you know, Alien Storm, because it was my first. This game is important to me because it's the actual game that I actually can say is hard as hell, and I actually beat it as a kid. And I'm so proud of myself about it that still to this day. Yeah, to me, honestly, I feel that this game is one of the predecessors to games such as Dark Souls and Demon Souls, because if a game like this didn't exist, especially being as hard as it is, it's, yeah. Now, Chakan the Forever Man. The story is not that big deal. It's pretty much a swordsman who was really good at his skills, was pretty much having an ego trip, and he go, yeah, I'm so good, I can beat Death himself. And the Grim Reaper heard his boast, and he goes, oh, okay, how about this? Let's have a bout. And if you win, you get immortality. But if I win, now, obviously, we all know how Grim Reaper works, you know, if he wins or whatever, yeah. But anyway, Chakan won. But instead of it being a gift of immortality, Death, the Grim Reaper, cursed him with immortality. And because of the curse, he is forever alive, you know, especially in this sort of ghastly looking look, the shape. And the thing is that what's interesting about this game is you are playing a character. Now, I'm a little kid, so I didn't really figure this out, but if you really think about it now, you're playing a character whose goal of the game is to die. Yeah, it's that type of kind of dark. And this game is hard as hell. Like this game frustrated me when I was younger. And I remember one time my mom was agitated because how frustrated I was because of this game. So she told me if I don't calm down or if I don't stop or not play this game, whatever, she's going to take it and she's going to sell it or give it to somebody else. And that motivated me to play this game this one weekend to beat. I don't remember if it was on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. All I remember was it was real late, probably like about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. And I finally beaten this game. I was so happy. You have no idea. This is one of those games where it has specific weapons in certain levels. And you gotta do some backtracking and stuff like that. Once you get weapons, that'll help make other levels easier, and also make it easier for you to defeat certain bosses. Now, the ending of this game is not all anything too exciting, because when I remember my reaction was when after I beat the death himself, I was all like, oh, okay, how's the story gonna end? You know what, whatever, I beat the game. It was that kind of lackluster, but like I said, I was proud and happy that I beaten this game. It was like, it's hard as hell. Made no sense, but after beating it, I have never touched it. The thing about Alien Storm, it has good replay value. Like I said, I played a crap ton of this game with my friend, my sister. It was fun. This game is a single player. Hard as hell. So obviously when I beat it, never touched it again. Even to this day, I refuse to. I'm keeping this because it's one of those victory like trophy moment for me in my gaming life. Now, the next game is a game that I did not, as a kid, even for as long as I had it, I have not beaten. That's right. Maximum Carnage for the Sega Genesis. And this was published by Acclaim, right here. Again, I hope the glare don't. It's really dark in my room right now at this time, so that's why I got the light on up there, as well as the light on the camera. But hopefully, the glare is not as strong. But here's the Maximum Carnage. And what made this game special compared to the other, and you guys probably already know this, the cartridge is red. Like blood red. And this game, like I said, I have not beaten, but I have fun playing this game. Yes, it's hard, and yes, it makes you try to strategize more of how to, like when to use your special, when to pay attention to your life bar, and because it it's not like Streets of Rage. It is an action like side-scrolling game, but it can be hard, but it's fun. And one of the major selling points to this game, that why I wanted it, is because not only can you play as Spider-Man, but you can play as Venom, and Venom is one of my favorite characters in the Spider-Man universe. So obviously, I just couldn't pass that up. It's Venom. So, and I'm actually excited about the whole news about Venom coming out with his own movie. I don't know if it's in production or if it's complete or it's going to come out in theaters, but all I hope is it's really Venom. It ain't no crap shot like, oh, this happened. I want it to be Venom. Like, just so pretty much when I got this game, you see how Carnage is? That is how I am when it came to this game. I feel like it caused me to become this way when it came to this game. But like I said, it is fun. The art style is very cartoony, but it makes sense. It is hard. And like I said, I still haven't beaten it, even to this day. And the reason why I still keep that as part of my gaming life is because of how much fun a hard game can be. Like, I got so many other games that I've beaten, that I play, and they are fun as well. But this game is like, even though it's challenging, it's fun challenge. And that's what's important to me. I put a lot of hours in that. And next, this is going to be my final one. This game is like one of my favorites in the Sega Genesis library. Yeah, I know, they screwed up the spelling. It's supposed to be lightning, but it's lightning force. And I didn't know much about Gradia. I wasn't familiar with it. I just remember I saw this on the shelf, and I was like, I'm like, oh wow, they can't spell. But I couldn't let it go because, I didn't have that much of a shoot 'em up game in my gaming collection. I was about to say gaming library. I don't have a library, but I do have like a good, decent sized collection. And I just loved how the graphics were. And, again, I'm sorry for the glare if you can't read the back, but dude, this game is just unbelievably fucking awesome. I'm sorry. To me, it's perfect. It's like, you just cannot, the graphics, even though it's pixelated for its time, beautiful. The story is not all that to write home about, but the background music, the soundtrack itself for this game, to me, should be like one of the top 100 in video game history. I mean, I'm surprised Smooth McGroove, and yes, a little shout out to Smooth McGroove, did not do any based off of Lightning Force, because the music is so good. It just like when you beat this game, you can actually, once you figured out how to go to the hidden menu screen, you can actually go to the music soundtrack selection and select any music from the level, from the bosses, or even the end credits. Even when you die and you go to the continue screen, you know how some video games have that background music? Even that is awesome. I mean, this game, the weapons you gain, the power-up, the creation of the monsters or / enemies, it's just, this, I mean, all I can say is the people that worked on this, thank you. Like, this game is like one of my favorites in the Sega Genesis. And again, like I said, I have a lot of games like, Shinobi and stuff like that, Sonic and Knuckles. And the Sega Genesis is my childhood. Like, I love my Sega Genesis. And like I said, it's just, as you can see, these games are just a couple of chapters of my video game life. And I just want to know from you guys, what is your game system? What is your childhood? And what are the games, whether you like them, you hate them, or agitate you, to frustrate you, or you just love? And also, what was your very first game that you had for your system that you will forever cherish and remember, that you played with your system? You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I got a lot of games for the Sega Genesis, but these 4 are just a couple examples of how much I love the system, and these games of how important they are to my childhood. And I just want to know, what were yours? So, yeah, from the game that started it all, to the game that pissed you off, to the game that made it fun for the challenge, and finally the game that just blew your mind to the point where it's just your favorite and you don't care what anybody says. This is pretty much, I want to know what your 4 is. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Until then, later. Enjoy your childhood. Remember it.